Yo, what is up? This is episode 5 on NinjaGeek Unboxes, and today we're going to look at this beast. Now, this is AEG's Edge of Darkness. So it's a 1 to 4 player card crafting game set in the city of Aegius with worker placement elements and some deck building. Now, in the game, players take control of one of the 4 guilds available to them. Players will craft cards through a system previously seen in Mystic Vale, where the cards have these laminated pouches, and any cards gained during the drafting can be slipped into these. Players can also place their agents at various locations around the board, as well as generate threat, and this can cause attacks on the city. Although there is a shared deck for players to draft from, the guilds do compete to see who can generate the most prestige at the end of the game. Now, I backed this on the most recent Kickstarter campaign, and I selected the expedited pledge, and so I was pretty happy because it arrived very, very quickly into my home. And look at it, it is massive. I'm actually wondering when we open it and take a look at the contents, is there going to be a hidden copy of Gloomhaven in here? Because it's just huge. Now, the artwork on the box is absolutely incredible. You've got the city here with some mountains in the background and some sinister characters looking over the landscape here in the foreground. I'm not sure if you can see, but if I tilt the box as well, the river has like a laminated shiny effect, which is pretty subtle but quite cool. The artwork extends to all the way around the box in great detail, but on one side you have this monster that's a cross between a minotaur and that creature from Pan's Labyrinth. So let's go and take a look at the contents of this mammoth crate of a game. So I'll take a quick look at what's in the box. So this here is it's a thank you from the creators, letting you know what has changed with the Kickstarter campaign and the stretch goals. So we've got additional pieces of agents, first player markers, round markers, defense tokens, and some player aid tokens. These were initially card, and I think they're still in here as a punch board, but they were replaced with plastic pieces. So all the agents are now miniatures. These up here are coffers for all the supplies that go onto the board, so you can store them in there during the game. Just a bit concerned as why they've chosen to use so much plastic when the card tokens would have been okay. We have solo play. We've got double thickness player boards, and again the I guess they were wooden threat cubes are now PVC, and it's just letting us know what's changed or what's extra in the game. Here is a draw bag for the threat tokens. It's made of felt. This here has been stitched in, and that's quite nice. We have solo rules for solo play. Doesn't look too thick, maybe what, 7 pages. Yeah, about 7 pages. So this is how to play the solo game. The rule book. Nice illustrations. A list of contents. We then have how to set up and how to slot the cards into laminated pouches, what the game table looks like once set up, and even on here you can tell it looks really nice. How to play, and then a breakdown of the different phases within the rounds, how to resolve damage due to an attack, certain effects and abilities, how the game ends, and how to calculate your point total at the end, and lastly is an appendium here. I'll keep that open. This is the player handbook. I'm not actually sure what this is. So this is a definitive guide to the locations of the city of Aegius. So it's split into 4 sections where you've got story-based series of setups. You then have 6 additional standalone balanced setups. The third section offers rules for creating your own setups, and the final section runs through a detailed clarification of all the locations and advancements available in the game. This appears to be some type of score pad with each of the guilds located here in their own column. So at the end of the game, I think you just record these to total your VP sum. We have 3 boards. There's the, it looks like the main board. Oh no, that's, I think that goes actually on top of the main one. So we'll have a look. Well, there's 3 boards there, so we'll have a look at those in just a second. Now these are the punch boards that I was talking about. So you have all the tokens here that have all been replaced with plastic pieces. So these were the agents, and they're now miniatures. You have plastic coins, I think, that have been here that are replaced with plastic pieces. All these influence and reputation and influence tokens and goodwills, and these are double-sided, so they're brown on one side and blue on the other. But as I said, they've all been replaced with plastic pieces. There's a pack of additional influence and goodwill tokens. So again, I'm not sure why you need more card ones. So within the main game box, I'll just take this out first. That is the plastic tokens for the round and the first player marker. So looks like some wizard with a fireball, and then some arm holding a scepter of some kind. The agents, there look to be 5 of these, and they are paired miniatures. So that's one faction, that's another, and that's another. So there are 5 sets of these. One, so they're all the same, but I just think each faction has access to 2 different types of miniature. I think they're male and female, which is good. Yeah, so they're the same as the first ones. These are the coffers that were mentioned in the thank you leaflet. However, here they look nice and rounded, and we seem to have some plastic cube shaped ones. And these sit on the game board and hold all your supplies in. I think I prefer the ones that were located on the welcome letter rather than these ones, because they just look a bit plain. What's in here then? So we have the player boards. So they are nice. They're double thick, as it said in the welcome letter. The grooves here, so you can store your items in, and each one has its own artwork with the guild icon on. So that's the first 2. It looks like there's another 2 here. There you go, one with Batgirl's mask on, and this one has a chalice on, but these are really nice. We have, these are the locations. I think originally in the game there was supposed to be, just going to have a quick look now. Yeah, there's 37, 37. I think there was meant to be about 12 to start in the original game, and I think a lot of them have been added during the Kickstarter campaign. So these are all the locations that go around the edge of the board, and there's loads of them. They've all got some really nice artwork on. So you have a city park there, courthouse, have a labour exchange. That's just to name a few. I'm not going to go through them all. Almshouse. So yeah, there's quite a few to look through. Seem to have an additional bag for the threat tokens. This has more of a plasticky feel, and this has been printed, and no doubt this looks like it's going to rub or fade over time. So the other bag with the embroidery is a lot better. I don't think I'll be using that one. These are the threat cubes. I think again they're initially wooden, but these look like they're now PVC. I would have been happy with the wooden ones. I think this is the threat tower. Yes, so what I'll do is I'll put it to the side. First of all, you've got lots and lots of plastic tokens. All those ones we saw on the punch board are now represented by plastic tokens. They do look nice. And there's loads of them here. And these are the coins that were on the punch boards. And we also have to identify the different factions, different guilds with the miniatures. You have these coloured bases that sit into the bases of the miniatures. So one faction will choose one colour and place all their miniatures for those particular bases. So the threat tower sits here. So it sits like that, and you pour the threat cubes in at the top. They tumble down here, and then they'll pop out in one of these doorways. And this is grooved here, so they can't escape. And you'll have enemy cards lined up along here, which relate to that particular amount of threat. But that looks pretty cool. I think I'll probably have to paint that, make it look really nice. Reference cards, just for the players so they don't have to root through the rule book the whole time. There's loads of stuff in here. We have cards. I think these are used for solo play. So when you're playing a solo game, you'll use these rather than some of the others in there, I guess. These are randomizer cards, and I think these match the card, thick card location cards. So you'll select these at the start of the game if you're randomizing your location cards, I assume. But it looks to be the same amount as location cards. Some laminate sleeves. I'm not sure if these are spares or if this is what you actually slot into during the drafting. And this is just an example of the, it's a bit shiny, sorry, of the laminate cards that are available. So they have, there's like an enemy there, and then spaces at the bottom, and here they have the guild icons, and there's a number of them representing the different guilds. And there's also a large number of cards, or laminate cards here, and I think there's nearly 300 of these in the game. But you can see the cards are in thirds, where a third's missing in most of them, but there's loads of them. So that's just the opening content. I don't think there's anything else, no. I'll just lay it out now, and so you can have a look at it in greater detail. So as for the board itself, you'll have these location tiles around the outskirts of the board, 5 at the bottom, 5 at the top, and there are areas on the top and bottom board for 5 sets of cards on each board. And I've only set up for just to show you the cards. I haven't set up for a full game. You've got your coffers here with your tokens in the middle, and then you've got some really nice artwork in the central board, some areas for the deck of shared cards, and at the top you'll have the rest of the location cards and some other cards that you can pull for drafting. The artwork on the board is really nice. Reminds me a bit of King's Landing, actually. And these areas here, they're in white, and these numbers are in white. It's not too difficult to see, so they don't obscure any of the artwork. So this is just 3 of the 37 location cards that can be found in the game. We've got the Hunters Guildhall, the Fairgrounds, and the Rangers Outpost. The artwork for these is just phenomenal. Very detailed, very different from each other. Some of them have some rules and some abilities that you can do or need to do if things happen. The cardstock as well is very thick and durable. So these are just 2 of the cards available for drafting in the game. We have Mill Hollow Landowner and Advisor to the Chancellor. And as you can see, the artwork in these is phenomenal. It's really nice artwork. And around the edges of the artwork there are symbols and icons. I'm not actually sure what these are for. I've not read the rules yet, but I think the arrow with the silhouette of the meeple is for placing and removing agents. So for the player boards, really good quality thick board, grooved areas for your tokens, and an area for your trained agents. And the agents, as I said, are male and female, and they sit in coloured discs depending on which guild you are playing with. You have your player aid icons, defense icons there. These here are allegiance slips, and they have the icon for the guild in the top left corners. The threat tokens I've used an assortment of colours here just to represent when they fall through the threat tower. I place them in the top of the threat tower, and they pull here and are associated with a particular enemy sat in the threat tower. So then fall into a particular pool. Well, as you can see, there's plenty of contents within this box. So what are my thoughts? Well, if the game plays as well as the contents look, then I'm in for a treat. The components look really, really good, and I'm looking forward to getting this one to the table. It's quite unlikely I'll be able to do this with my gaming group, so I'll have to play solo first, and that's just because of the lockdown with COVID in the UK. The artwork for this game is some of the best I've seen. My favourite currently is Scythe, followed by Abyss, but I think this does follow quite closely behind. The game looks deep and involved, but I'll know more about that after a few plays. The card stock for the player boards and the location cards, for example, are good, thick quality stock, and the threat tower adds a little randomization to the enemies, but again, I'll need a few plays to determine whether this is a good or a bad thing. Now, there are 3 boards. There's a main board and 2 smaller ones that go above and below the main board, and the location cards get placed on the outskirts of these. It does take quite a lot of table space, so you will need a larger table to play this. But a couple of things that I am disappointed with. One is the amount of plastic tokens that have replaced all the card tokens, where I think it's deemed unnecessary. Now, I do like miniature games, but to me, I think the miniatures are okay, but with regards to the plastic content, they didn't need to do that. The coffers also don't look as nice as how they're represented in the campaign stretch goal page. They were curved bowls, and here they just look like square plastic containers. However, the miniatures do look really nice, and I do like the thought process of making them male and female agent representatives. There's a good chance I won't use those coloured base rings to separate the guilds, but instead I'll use Games Workshop contrast paints for this. I did the same with Anachrony and the exosuits in that game, and they look really, really nice. The card crafting system looks really fun. I've not done that before. And as seen, the card illustrations have artwork in 1 or 2/3 of the cards, and you can slip these in and others together with your allegiance slips for each guild. Now, overall, this game looks awesome, and I'm really, really looking forward to having this played. And that's just solely based on the artwork, the theme, and the game system. So that's it for NinjaGeek Unboxes Edge of Darkness. Thanks for watching. Cheers.